You have a desk. It's where you're supposed to put it. I know you don't take it home, so you need to look for it. All right, here we go. Now we've been messing with for the last 3 weeks, dividing multi-digits. Some of us did a really good job. Some of us did okay. Some of us are making noises right now, and that's probably a good chance or good indication of how well we did on that last chapter, because right now we're trying to make each other laugh as compared to actually listening and learning. Is that correct? You know, yesterday I had that discussion. Some of you guys said, I don't understand it. And I said to you, well, you know what? We've spent how long on this? And yet we're still not doing our work and giggling. And again, I'm moving on. All right, train's moving. Here we go. Today we're going to estimate. And that seemed to be the biggest problem that a lot of us had yesterday, was the estimating for the division. When I went through there, most of us missed that part. Most of us. Okay. So, you know, some of us got like a 48 out of 48. Someone got 42. But chances are, if you didn't get a 42 or a 48, you missed the estimation part. And I think it's the rounding issue that some of us have. We're not paying attention to the rounding. So one way to estimate is to use rounding. If you round numbers to a lesser place value, you're likely to get an estimate that's closer to the exact answer. So what we're doing now, and the essential question is right here, how can I use place value and properties to add and subtract decimals? We're doing decimals. Raise your hand if you've ever dealt with a decimal. A couple of you. How many of you spend money daily? All right, so you've all dealt with decimals, because decimals, guys, is just money. All right, technically it's just money. That's all it is. This right here, Colton looks at it every day. He looks at the weather. Chances are he's going to see 31.3, or today probably 51.4 degrees or whatever. So he deals with decimals every day. So number one, example one, Hadassah, I guess that's how you say it. Hadassah used a digital thermometer to find the morning temperature and the afternoon temperature. She found that the morning temperature was 31.3, or 31 and 3/10 degrees Fahrenheit, and the afternoon temperature was 37.6, or 37 and 6/10 Fahrenheit. Estimate the difference. Estimate. All right. So that means we're going to round. Anytime you see that word estimate, even on the test like yesterday, we are going to do what? Round. All right. We're going to round something. So one way to round, as it said right here, is to the nearest 10. Notice over here, it's to the nearest 1. So these are two different ways you can do it. I would prefer right now to do to the nearest. It'll tell you if you do to the nearest 10 or nearest 1. Okay. So we're going to round 37.6 to the nearest 10. 10. So which number here, 3, 7, or 6, is the tens? Asher? That's a tenth.
7.
That's the ones.
3.
3, right? Guys, if you remember, 3, 7, 6. This is the tens. If we write it sideways like this, tens. These are the ones. And then we get into our decimals here. These have the th at the end of it. I remember doing that with you. I said, right, tenth. All right, so those are the tenths. So we're dealing with these numbers over here right now when we round to the nearest tens or ones. So we're going to look at this number right here, this 3. That 3. What number do we look at to decide if we're going to round that up or down? I know you know, Asher, but I'm not going to pick on you. Which number do I look at to decide if I'm going to round this to keep it a 3, or I'm going to round it up to a 4, Holly? I'm going to look at the ones, and she said, which is a 7. Does that fit the criteria? 5 or more?
Yeah.
Raise the score. So what's that 3 going to become?
4.
A 4. Now the hardest thing a lot of us forget to do is we forget to put that other 0, because this is the tens place. That's our nearest 10. So 37.6 is closer to 40 than it is to 30. Do we see that? Ethan, do we see that? Because yesterday, I feel like, whenever we were talking about 30, we were talking about, I believe it was just a whole number for dividing, and it wasn't you, it was somebody else, I can't remember who it was. And I said, is it closer to 30 or 40? And the person kept saying 20. And I'm like, how are you getting 20? And if you look at this, you look at this 10, which is a 3. So you're at a 3 here and a 30. And then you're going to say, well, it's either going to be a 3 or a 4, so 40. So on my number line right here, 35 lands about right here, right? Well, 37, that's going to land what? About right here. So which one is it closest to? 30 or 40? 40. So that's why, if some of you were wondering why I rounded that 37.6 to a 40. Because on a number line for the nearest 10, it's closest to the 40, not the 30. All right, so we got the other number right here, the 31.3 to the nearest 10. Again, so which number, this one or this one, am I going to look at in order to round? Colton?
The 3.
The 3. We're looking at the 3, right? That's the one we need. We're either going to make it a 3 or a 4.
Make it a 3.
Why?
Because the 1 is not greater than 5.
Good. He says the 1 is not greater than 5, so we're going to leave this a 3. We're going to leave it be, and we're going to slap a 0. So if we look back at this example here, and we had 31.3, well, there's 35. 31 is going to be about right here. So which one's it closest to, 30 or 40?
30.
So that's why I have a 30 in that spot, because it's closest to 30. So now it becomes easy. What's 40 minus 30? 10, right? That's estimating by rounding to the nearest 10. I can guarantee you that this will be on the next test. Estimating. So if you're not paying attention right now, you're definitely going to want to look up there. All right, another way you can do it is estimate and round it to the nearest 1. Now this is going to give us probably a more precise answer, because we're not rounding as high. Look at this one. When we go from 37 to 40, we lose 3 numbers there, right? 2.4 really. This one here, we lose 1. Well, now we're going to round to the nearest 1. So in this number right here, 3, 7, or 6, what number is in the 1's place, Emmeline? The 6 is in the 1's? Lauren?
7.
The 7 is in the 1's place. So this is what we're looking to round to. Now again, if I were to put over here, I've got 37. So we're looking to see if this is closer to 37 or 38. All right, that's what we're looking for right here, is 37 or 38. Now, we're going to look at that number there. It's always the number to the right we look at. That's 5 or more, right? Is 6 5 or more?
Yeah.
So what are we going to do to this 7?
We're going to make it 8.
We're going to make it an 8, so we're going to write 38. Because again, if I were to do this, this right here would be 37.5. Well, guess what? 37.6 is right here. What's it closer to, 38 or 37?
38.
You're right, it's closer over here, right? It's closer to 38. That's why we round that to the nearest 1. So I'm going to put 38 right here. All right, 31.3 or 31 and 3/10. What number is in the 1's place? What number is in the 1's place on that one right there, Emma? 1. So we're going to look at the 1. Okay, that's what we want to, or is it going to be 31 or 32? Which one's it closest to? What do you say? 31. Why? What's less than 5? Not the 1. That 3, right, is less than 5. So that's why we keep this a 31. Because again, this is 31 and a half. Well, guess what? 31.3 would be like right here. So it's closest to which number? 31. So now we have 38 minus 31. And what do you get when you take 7? Which one do you think is closer? Ireland? Which one's closer, the 10 or the 7? Oh, you said the 1's. Yeah, she said the 1's, which would have been the 7 right here. And it is. It's a little bit closer. But again, it's an estimate. So they would say down here, the difference is about, so you would take 7 or about 10, because that's about the difference. The actual difference is 6.3, so rounding to the nearest 1, she said, is the more accurate one. All right, so I mean, it is kind of easy, but again, the estimating, rounding to the correct number seems to be, for the most part, the hardest for some of us to get by, and then we're usually pretty good after that. So let's look at this next one here. Ethan, you're going to try this one for me, all right? All right, Ethan. We have 5 2600s plus 1 and 9300s. Okay, we have that right there. You have to what? We are going to estimate, all right? So what do you want to do? It says, it tells us round to the nearest 1, so that's what we're going to do, nearest 1. So 5 and 2600s. What number is in the ones place? Ones place. Ray?
5.
The 5. So I think what we might have to look back and do is say decimal, ones, tens. This one is the tenths. This is the hundredths. These have the TH, guys, hundredths on it. So whenever you're lining them up, remember we had this little chart here. Does anybody remember that?
Yeah, I remember it.
So when you write this out, Ethan, it would be, actually the decimal would probably be right here on that line right there. So 5 and 26. So that's in the ones place value right there. So we're seeing the nearest 1. Again, we're seeing, is that the nearest 5 or what number?
51.
5 or 6, right? The nearest 1. 5.26. Here's 5.5. So 5.26 is probably going to be about over in here. So what is it closest to? 5 or 6?
5.
Easy enough, right? So 5. What about this one right here? What number is in the 1 place value? 1, 9, or a 3, Brighton? What number's in the ones place? I'm sorry, you can't see it. In the ones place. Ones place. If I were going to write this out, I'd say 1 decimal 9 3. What is in the ones place right here? Sailor? The 1. The 1 is in the ones place. The 1. So we're going to look over at the neighbor here at the 9. Is that 5 or more? So you're going to raise the score. If we're doing it on a number graph up here, we'd say, well, here's a 1 and 2. Here's 1.5. 1.93 is like all the way over here. So which one's it closest to? A 1 or a 2?
2.
2. So that's where we get that 2 right there. We'd raise this up to a 2. So what's 5 plus 2?
7.
So the sum is about 7. About, because we're estimating. Dive on over to the independent practice. Notice on this one here, you got to read the instructions, and they're going to do this to you on your homework too. Round to the nearest what?
1.
It says right there the nearest 1, right? Right here. So in this first one right here, which number is in the ones place value, Lauren? So right here, right? That one there, the ones place value. So we're going to look at the neighbor right here. Is that 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9?
No.
So you're going to keep it a what?
0.
Yeah, you're going to keep it a 0 or a 10, right? Again, you look at that number, you say, well, 10 and 8 cents, that's closer to $10, guys. It's closer to $10 than it is $11. Think of money. All right, which number here is in the ones place value? Oh, Emma. The 5. So this 6 right here, what do we do to this 5 because of that 6? We make it to a 6 because it's 5 or more. What's 10 plus 6?
16.
Thank you, 16. Easy as that, right?
Yeah.
And it's pretty close. Again, these are estimates. All right, next one. We have 10 and 4 tenths plus 32 and 8 tenths. Let's go Ireland. Ireland, which number right here is in the ones place? The 0. So what number do we look at to see if we're going to round that up or down? We look at the 4. And what are we going to do to that 10 because of the 4? Leave it a 10, she said. Plus. All right, Colton Johnson, 3, 2, or 8. Which one's in the ones place value? The what? 2. Yeah, the 2. So we're going to look at what number, Colton, to determine if we're going to change this to 32 or 33. The 8. So what are we going to do to it? Change it to a what? Not a 10. This is 5 or more, so we're going to do what to this 2? Are we going to leave it a 2 or are we going to change it to a 3? Change it to a 3. So this is now going to be Colton 33. And then we add those together, and what do we get? 43. Next one, $42.01. Again, the money one should be the easiest because you're going to look at to the nearest whole dollar. If someone gives you $42.01 and they say round it, are you going to round it up to 43? You're going to round it to what? 42, right? If someone gives you $5.92 and they say, well, round it to the nearest dollar, you going to round it to $5 or are you going to give them back 92 cents? You're going to round it to a 6, right? So what's 42 minus 6? Right? $36. Good job, Ray. Next one. 72 or 75.2 and 82.3. You want to do the whole thing? Go ahead and do the whole thing.
The 5 is the 1 and 2 is higher than 5, so it's 75.
Okay.
And then on 82, 2 is the 1s and the 3 is higher than 5. So you have to do 70 plus 82.
Okay.
157.
And he says 157. He's correct. I know you probably couldn't hear it on the microphone, but he did explain it right where he said 75, the 5 is in the 1s, the 2 is not more than 5, so it stays at 75. 82, the 3 here is not more than 5, so it stays in 82, and you add them together, you get 157. Good job, Raymond. Skip down here to the nearest tens now. Okay, again, you got to watch it on the homework, and I'm assuming they do it because they say on the homework nearest 1, and then nearest 1. Maybe they don't make you do nearest 10 on the homework. I don't know. All right, so look at the nearest 10. Let's just do these nearest ones, I guess. Let's get this, make sure we get this one out of the way. Now, these got a lot more numbers on here, but again, you don't need to look at all those other numbers. Someone tell me, let's go with Maddie. Maddie, the 1, 5, 0, or 9, which one's in the 1 place?
5.
The 5? The 1 is. So, Maddie, we look at the 5, and that means we're going to make this one a what?
2.
A 2. And then, Maddie, 3, 1, 0, 6. Which one's in the 1 place?
3.
The 3, and we look at the which number? And that, is that 5 or more? So what do you do to the 3? Keep it a 3, and you add those together, you obviously get 5. Yeah, we're not multiplying this time. Good. Who else wants to try one? Gavin, why don't you try one for me, bud? Gavin, what is in the, which number's in the 1's place value right here? Which way? Which 8? This one or that one? This one? Okay. So which number do we look at to tell if we're going to change that to an 8 or a 9? We look here. So what are we going to do to that? Keep it an 8, he says. Which one, Gavin, is in the 1's place here? That one. Which number do we look at? What are we going to do to that 3? And what do you get? Good job. Last one, we'll have Sailor do it. Sailor, which number is in the 1's place value? The what? You say 3? Did she say 3? I couldn't hear.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, Sailor, what number do we look at to tell if we're going to change that to a 3 or 4? The 8. So what are we going to do to that 3? Ah? Somebody translate. I can't hear.
I can't translate girl voice.
I thought she said she's reading Japanese.
Turn it. No, wait, we have to look at this, Sailor. 4, thank you, yeah.
Turn it into a.
All right, Sailor, shh, be quiet. Sailor, which one is in the ones place on the next one? Shh. The 1. We look at the 2. What are we going to do to the 1? Turn into a what?
2. She said 2.
Not a 2. This is, we look at this 2 here.
I didn't know.
We leave it a 1 because this is not more than 5. So so you add those together. What do you get, Sailor? 5. Why do they have 5 all the way across here? You guys notice that?
Oh.
Got 5 for all those right there.
Who knows? Because they're smart.
Yeah, I just realized that.
We got some smart alecks in here, just like my brother.
Yeah, a lot.
You.
All right. So, shh. I know I didn't collect your guys'. Hey, I didn't collect your page this time. I know, but again, for this, you are going to you're going to look at these, and you're going to round them to the nearest 1. All these you're going to round it to the nearest 1. So think about your place values. If you need to draw this on your sheet, which I'm going to draw it on here for you, that way if you need to draw it on yours, go ahead. Again, we're going to have tens, ones, tenths, hundredths. All right, and that's really all we need. And then I'm going to draw my lines so that I know the separation of them. I'm going to put my decimal point right here. So if you guys need that right there, you probably need to do that so you know what your place values are, so that you know which number is the ones. Go ahead and start on the homework.
Remember the partners?